little room. For some reason, it's so noisy just outside the door. It's hard to walk anywhere. Yeah, we're feeling I'm feeling a little bit trapped at the moment. But soon we're going to be going to, not trapped in a relationship. Soon we're going to be going to sunny UK. Hopefully it'll be sunny. And
hopefully not.
We'll be there for a little while. Okay, we're here to read the Bhagavatam.
Canto 4, Chapter 26, Text 20.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Text 20. Because the king was very expert in flattery, he began to pacify his queen very slowly. First he touched her 2 feet, then embraced her nicely, seating her on his lap, and began to speak as follows. Purport. One has to awaken his Krishna consciousness by first regretting his past deeds. Just as King Paranjam began to flatter his queen, one should, by deliberate consideration, raise himself to the platform of Krishna consciousness. To attain such an end, one must touch the lotus feet of the spiritual master. Krishna consciousness cannot be achieved by self-endeavor. One must therefore approach a self-realized Krishna conscious person and touch his lotus feet. Prahlad Maharaj therefore said, Naisha Matis Tavad Urukramangrin Sprisati Anata
Bhagamo Yadartaha Mahiya Sampararajo Vishekam Niskinchanam Navrinityavat. One cannot come to the precincts of Krishna consciousness unless he touches the dust of the lotus feet of a person who has become a Mahatma, a great devotee. This is the beginning of the surrendering process. Lord Krishna wants everyone to surrender unto him, and this surrendering process begins when one touches the lotus feet of a bona fide spiritual master. By sincerely rendering service to a bona fide spiritual master, one begins his spiritual life in Krishna consciousness. Touching the lotus feet of a spiritual master means giving up one's false prestige and unnecessarily puffed up position in the material world. Those who remain in the darkness of material existence due to their falsely prestigious positions, so-called scientists and philosophers, are actually atheists. They do not know the ultimate cause of everything. Although bewildered, they are not ready to surrender themselves to the lotus feet of a person who knows things in their proper perspective. In other words, one cannot arouse Krishna consciousness simply by his own mental speculation. One must surrender to a bona fide spiritual master. Only this process will help one. And if someone's thinking, yeah, but I can't touch the lotus feet of a spiritual master, especially in terms of following the instructions, and like in that way you're actually honoring as if you're touching the lotus feet. You don't really need to chase down the pure devotee or your spiritual master. So I need to touch your lotus feet, especially obviously if you're a woman, because it's not going to happen. But faithfully following the instructions is surrender. It's like actually honoring the spiritual master. Yeah, I remember once in a talk, some devotees were asking the question about how sometimes devotees amongst the devotees, they try to touch each other's feet, and sometimes, at least in the brahmachari ashram, it used to get a bit out of hand, where they would literally wrestle a devotee to the floor, sometimes rip off his socks and even pour water through it, and they'd drink it and
put it on their head and all kinds of crazy stuff. Wild.
That's just crazy.
And some devotees felt like literally, what would be the word? Like invaded? No, not invaded.
Yeah.
Like, but no, there was a different word. Anyway,
Like violated.
Violated, that's the word I was thinking. So anyway, this senior devotee, he said that today, of course we should try to get the dust of the lotus feet of the devotees, that's for sure. Bhaktapada Duti, Bhaktapada Jao, Bhaktapada, can't remember all of them, but basically lotus feet of the devotee. And he said, but if it comes to the point where you make that devotee cry or feel upset, then you've missed the point.
Yeah.
And then he said exactly what you said, that you can get the dust of the feet of the devotee by serving that devotee nicely. So like that. Very nice. Text 21. King Paranjan said, my dear beautiful wife, when a master accepts a servant as his own man, but does not punish him for his offenses, the servant must be considered unfortunate. Very interesting concept. Purport. According to Vedic civilization, domestic animals and servants are treated exactly like one's own children. Well, that throws things into an interesting context. Animals and children are sometimes punished, but punished not out of vengeance, but out of love. Similarly, a master sometimes punishes his servant, not out of vengeance, but out of love, to correct him and bring him to the right point. Thus, King Paranjan took his punishment dealt by his wife. Thus, King Paranjan took his punishment dealt by his wife, the queen, as mercy upon him. He considered himself the most obedient servant of the queen. She was angry at him for his sinful activities, namely hunting in the forest and leaving her at home. I wonder which one was more prominent. King Paranjan accepted the punishment as actual love and affection from his wife. Husbands, good thing to remember there, if you're getting chastised by your wife, it's actually love and affection. Okay? In the same way, when a person is punished by the laws of nature, by the will of God, he should not be disturbed. There you go. It's real easy. A real devotee thinks in this way. When a devotee is put into an awkward position, he takes it as the mercy of the Supreme Lord. And now this beautiful famous verse from the 10th canto, 14th chapter, text 8. Tatenu kampam susamikshmano bunjana evatmakritam vipakam ridvag vapur bir vidam namaste jivetayo mukti padasadaya bhak. This verse states that the devotee accepts a reversal of his position in life as a benediction by the Lord, and consequently offers the Lord more obeisances and prayers, thinking that the punishment is due to his past misdeeds and that the Lord is punishing him very mildly. The punishment awarded by the state or by God for one's own faults is actually for one's benefit. In the Manu Samhita, it is said that the king should be considered merciful when he condemns a murderer to death, because a murderer punished in this life becomes freed from his sinful activity, and in the next life takes birth cleared of all sins. If one accepts punishment as a reward dealt by the master, he becomes intelligent enough not to commit the same mistake again. Well, really powerful. And of course, this Tatenu Kampam Susamikshmano verse is very well known and understood even, but implementation is not always so easy. If we were able to see the reverses in life and the so-called reverses in life as gifts coming from Krishna, that would transform so much of our lives into, being Krishna conscious. Because very often we feel cheated, we feel abused, we feel used, we feel uncared for. We feel so many different emotions because apparently something has occurred in our life that is untoward, or we feel like we don't deserve it. Now, of course, this seems to be referring specifically if you're chastised for something you did. Now, the question may be, am I being chastised for something that I didn't do? And again, a senior devotee once in class was asked a similar sort of question about how should we act if people are gossiping about us behind our back. And of course, he said, gossip isn't really encouraged in our movement. It's not something that we want to do, or devotees should be doing. So therefore, it's not really a wanted thing. No one, in one sense, is deserving of it. And then he went on to say something very powerful. He said that, but we have to remember that actually we should have the humility to go to the person who's spreading these rumors about us, and we should say to them, my dear Prabhu, you are speaking so many lies about me, but actually there are many truths about me. So it's better that you tell the truths. So here's some of the truths about me. So better you go and spread that around, because it's not so good for you that you're actually telling lies. But here's some of the issues that I do have that you probably could tell people instead. And the point in doing that was that this is happening for our purification, and although someone may be saying something over here that isn't true, but it's very likely that it may resemble some other things that are true. And in that sense, it just means like this: we're getting some punishment for something, although it may look like it's not for what we deserve it to be for, kind of thing. I don't know if that made sense. Did that make sense?
Yeah, it makes sense. Text 23. 22. My dear slender maiden, when a master chastises his servant, the servant should accept this as great mercy. One who becomes angry must be very foolish, not to know that such is the duty of his friend. Purport. It is said that when a foolish man is instructed in something very nice, he generally cannot accept it. It's so true. Indeed, he actually becomes angry. Such anger is compared to the poison of a serpent. For when a serpent is fed milk and bananas, its poison actually increases. Instead of becoming merciful or sober, the serpent increases its poisonous venom when fed nice foodstuffs. Similarly, when a fool is instructed, he does not rectify himself, but actually becomes angry. It's so true, isn't it? It's like you always have to walk on eggshells. Actually, I was just talking to one devotee about this yesterday. It's so interesting. And then we were just saying how someone who's having some challenges,
Every talk we give, there's someone having some.
I know. I got a whole life of experience. So then, this was just yesterday anyway. And then I was just saying, because there's no one that they have in their life that they seem to accept, that who can just say like this, like you're being a bit of a wally, And my friend was like,
For those who aren't British, that means for those of you who are like a fool, acting like a fool, they're being like a fool.
A wally, yeah. But and it's true. And so then my friend was just saying, there's no one that can just say, hey, you're being like this. And then she went on to say, like, if I want to say something to you, I know I can just say, you're doing like this. I remember inside of me, I was like, wait, what do you want to say to me? What are you going to say to me? She wasn't saying anything. It's so interesting, isn't it? It's like we're agreeing on that common point, as Prabhupada is saying here. And then when she used it as an example, like me and you, I can say something to you and I can, and you would accept it. And I remembered
What? It depends what you're going to say, girl.
False ego is a very, very delicate.
Yeah, and so what to speak of people that are not working on themselves or on a sort of path of enlightenment where these things are understood, even if we haven't fully absorbed it or realized it. What to speak of that than people who are not, the vast majority are not in that space. It's not easy. So when you walk down the street and, oh, excuse me, you did this, or do you mind waiting, or you pushed in or whatever, it can kick off, especially in New York, because they're all crazy around here. Just shoot you in the head or something. So at least in England, they just
stab you in the neck.
No, they just do anything.
Make your neck small, mate. Make your neck small.
No, they don't actually.
Yeah, they do.
They just
That's
say, I do apologise.
Well, when I first went to England, everyone was with their best Irish accent saying, have you got a letterbox? Have you got a letterbox, mate? I know where you live. Have you got a letterbox? And because that was in the time of the IRA.
I know, but that's just so stupid. Why are you bringing that up?
Yeah, maybe that was wrong. Okay. Because you said,
Bring that
in America, they'll blow your house up. Well, in England, they'll blow your house up.
No one does that. No one blows houses up in England. I'm not sure why. This is a problem. You can't say anything like Prabhupada says.
What? Okay.
Alright, thank you everyone.
Make your neck small, mate.
Why is he saying that?
Because that was another thing.
But that's got nothing to do with what I was saying.
Why isn't it? You said that you can't say anything because people blow your head off in America. Like you can walk around saying whatever you like in England, right?
I'm sorry, everybody. I'm sorry. But please read the Bhagavatam. It will make your relationships blossom.
Yeah. Like your neck small, like. All right. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you very much. Grantaraj, Srimad Bhagavatam Ki Jai.
Speaking to fools and getting the fruit to them, Ki Jai. Yeah.
We better stop recording right now. Haribo.